Dr. Cindy, your host of the Positively Altered podcast. I am a chiropractic internist and nutritionist, and we love to discuss things here on the podcast related to your health, emotional, physical, spiritual, you name it, sometimes with a filter and sometimes without one. And that is absolutely how we roll. Right after the commercial break, I am going to introduce you to my next guest, but something to think about while you listen to our sponsors. Have you ever thought how you should maybe change things after the age of 50? What does 50 have to do with it? How do you get back on the bike when you fall off? And what possibly could a dog have to do with your fitness level? So go grab something to drink in a comfy spot on the couch. Take a quick listen to our sponsors. We're going to be right back with today's guest.
Hello, my name is Heather Lord, and I am the COO of Professional Health Products. Cutting corners is an all too common practice in the dietary supplement industry. When my father founded Professional Health Products, he sourced the cleanest, most biologically active ingredients from around the globe. Today, that commitment remains, which is why the finest healthcare practitioners, like Dr. Cindy, have trusted us for more than 40 years. We oversee the entire process in our manufacturing facility, from sourcing and formulation to manufacturing and labeling. Today, we offer over 300 unique products that can be tailored to the nutritional and homeopathic needs of each individual. Most recently, we launched a proprietary genetic test, allowing our practitioners to get even more dialed in to their patients' health. To learn more about Professional Health Products, please talk to your practitioner or visit our website at phpltd.com.
Today, your life is going to be altered. I'm Dr. Cindy.
Welcome to Infinity. We have worked hard to create an electronic claims website that is simple and user-friendly. This is the public side. You can log into your personal web portal here. This is your dashboard. You can personalize it to your liking here. Our main focus has been to allow you to submit and edit claims as easy as possible. You will find our claims editor and claims processing is simple to use and straightforward. Our quick action bar is where you can find your most important information. Most of these icons will take you directly to the claims the number represents. You can easily view if you have any messages in your inbox of any unread alerts by looking for these blue numbers. To view the rest of our training videos to get the most of your Infinity experience, click this icon. We hope you find this web portal simple and easy to use. Thanks for letting us serve you.
I'm Dr. Cindy. Who wouldn't want to join me for the Positively Altered podcast? Thanks for sticking around and joining us today. I am super excited, as I always am, to introduce you to my next guest. She's going to talk about some great things that we can utilize in the fitness world, a children's book, I believe, about fitness, and maybe a couple other surprises. Maria Rigo, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Dr. Cindy. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you.
Oh my gosh, I'm really excited to dive in. So, all right, here's my first burning question. You ready?
Yes.
You love to help women 50 and older. Why 50? Yes. What is it about that? What if I'm 48 and I need help? Why 50?
Okay, well, if you're 48 and you need help, I'll help you too. But the thing is, I think I've gone through menopause. I'm 57. I'm going to be 58 in March. And there's so much talk about menopause, and I get that, but there's a big afterlife after menopause. And so I feel like that once we get through menopause, we still need to take care of ourselves. We still want to live a vibrant, healthy life. We are strong. We're powerful. We're beautiful. And so I just feel like I'm in that category. I want to help other women that are in that category as well.
Oh my gosh, I love that you called it an afterlife. So it's almost like we could just die through menopause, right? And then and that's what it made me think of, and then come back, right? You know,
yes.
after that challenge. And I'm with you. I'm a March baby too, actually.
Oh.
And I've walked the walk and, you know, postmenopausal, and it was an interesting journey. And mine started about that age as well. So maybe 50's okay.
Yeah. It's, figure it this way. If we're going to live to be 90, so I'm going to be 58. So I figure if I live to be 98, that's 40 more years on this earth. I want those years to count. Back when I was in my early 30s, I was working out in the gym where I worked. I was a personal trainer. And this gentleman who appeared to me to be a much older gentleman, but he was probably only in his early 60s, saw me at the Smith press and I was doing a back squat. In those days, I used to put the bar right on my back. And he said, Maria, what are you training for? And I said, to stay out of nursing homes. And he looked at me and I think he thought I was training for like some competition. I'm like, no, I'm training to stay out of nursing homes. And I still have the same goal. I don't ever want to live in assisted living. I don't want to rely on other people. And I think that we all have the power. You know, anything can happen to us, right? We can all get sick. Something can happen. I had a terrible, terrible bike crash, almost took me out, I think, but anything can happen. But we can't live our life just assuming that we're going to go along this path and everybody's going to take care of us. We need to utilize our power, our own strength, our own power to live this amazing life. And that's what I plan on doing. And that's what I want to help other people do.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So I'm going to be 56 and I'm going to live to be 112. So I'm halfway.
Yay!
I'm halfway, got a little longer to go. And I don't know. I think 112 is nobody in my family. My oldest family member made it to a month before her 104th birthday. 104th?
Awesome.
No, actually, she turned 104. I lied about that. She did make it to 104, and I'm an overachiever. So, 8 years more than, But you know what? So I have this interesting idea. Like I'm listening to you talk right about the nursing home, and I think we're getting some things wrong. So I think we need to recruit some heavy hitter investors, and I think we need a home with a private chef and a driver and a fabulous gym, because like I don't want to go to the nursing home as we know it either, but I would actually love a home that was healthy, because I'm kind of tired of my own grocery shopping. What do you think?
Well, I think you've got a good point. And I think there are some really wonderful assisted living facilities. And I'm not talking badly about any of them, but for myself, I don't want to depend on anybody. My mom's going to be 83. She lives in my townhome. So it's a 3-story townhome down in Carmel, Indiana. And she's, on the library board and she's helping with the landscaping. And I just see myself going that route of living on my own and doing my own thing. But yeah, if you want to live in like a hotel, like a luxury hotel community, I think you should do that.
I think so. And I'd love to have you over for dinner with my personal chef.
I'll come.
I'll have my driver pick you up and bring you, and then they can bring you home too. So
I'd love that.
All right, I'll get cracking on that. But in the meantime, I guess we got some work to do. You know what? Tell me, you mentioned that you had a terrible crash, and like, not that I want you to relive that experience, but can we talk about that a little bit? Because I'd love to know how you walked through that journey, and then have the attitude that you have moving forward and coming out of something that could have really put you down the wrong rabbit hole.
Well, I mean, there's people that have been in way worse crashes than I have had. I realized that I've had 7 bike accidents in my life, and 4 of them happened as an adult. And the last one I had was the topper of all of them. And I said, I'm never doing that again. I had a moderate concussion and a minor brain bleed. And of course, it was during COVID. Mm-hmm. And I probably was riding too long on too little energy. I probably hadn't eaten enough. And it was a stupid accident. A woman was coming toward us on a trail with her dog. The dog's leash was really long. And so I went behind my partner, Jack, to kind of follow behind him to move out of the way of the dog. And the last thing I remember seeing was this short little yellow bush, like little yellow leaves. What I think happened was the branch got caught in my gears and just took me out. And the poor guy, I think I scared the crap out of him. Cause they took me away in the ambulance and I woke up and, I said, what do they have me on? Cause I feel kind of nauseous. I don't want to be on medicine. He goes, honey, you're on morphine. And I said, I don't need it. I don't have any pain.
Well, we know the morphine works, right? That's great.
But you know what? I came back from that and I still ride, but I don't ride as far as I used to ride. I love cycling. I love being outdoors in nature. It's so healing. I think it's amazing. I think hiking, cycling, any of that stuff, but I just don't push myself anymore. It left me with a little bit of a visual issue. So I've got to kind of watch that when I'm riding, but other than that, I'm fine.
So you know what? There's a great message in there that I love to talk about, and that is, not to give up what you love, right? You got, so to speak, got right back on and wrote
Yes.
again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes we have to shift, right? And we have to make some small changes so that we can still do the things we love, but not in a state where it's dangerous for us. So I love that you were able to find a way to do that and that you still keep going. It's really
Thank
important.
you. Thank you. Yeah. And I kind of look at that metaphor too with our age, right? Like we don't want to stop exercising. We don't want to stop doing all the things we do. We want to keep doing them, but we do have to create some modifications so that we can help ourselves feel good and just stay strong as we age.
All right. So I'm going to join you at the gym and we're going to do some workouts. Give me your, what is your favorite type of exercise to recommend for those of us that are a little older and, maybe it's not so easy anymore?
So if I were going to pick one form of exercise that I thought was going to help you age well, I would say strength training. And I would say this, I throw a little spin in there. I believe that we need to get stronger, and I don't want to stop anybody from working out at the gym. But I want you to consider not just building strength, but building stability before you build strength. What I tell my clients all the time is that think about if you were going to build $1 million house, or nowadays a $2 million house,
Right.
You wouldn't build it on a straw foundation. You'd want to build it on a really good, strong, not a straw foundation, STRAW, but a strong foundation. And it's the same thing with our body, because if we just keep building and building in these compensating patterns and we're unstable, because I see a lot of women with hip instability and core instability, and shoulder girdle instability, we get stronger in these compensating patterns. And then we're lifting. And then all of a sudden, boom. Ooh, I feel like I tore my rotator cuff, or, oh my gosh, my hip hurts, my knee hurts, my back hurts, my neck hurts. So what I try to do, I'm really picky. I use a method called the MELT method, and we have a part of that method that is all about neurostability. So it deals with creating new neuromuscular pathways. So I teach people things that they can do for themselves. And I just do a short little warm up of that instead of walking on the treadmill or getting on the elliptical. And then I go and I do heavy weights. And I believe that we need at least enough weight, and we got to build up to this, where we fatigue in about 5 to 6 repetitions.
Okay.
And then because we're doing less repetitions and more weight, we do more sets. So what I do for myself and what I progress my clients to is we start out with, 10 to 15 reps of 3 sets. Then we move to 4 sets of like 8 reps, and then 5 sets of 5 reps.
So when you say 5 sets, is it the 5th set, or you're doing an additional 5 sets after you've done 4 sets and 3 sets?
I'm doing an additional 5th set.
Okay, that makes sense. I was exhausted there for a minute, Maria. I'm like,
you know what? It doesn't
signing up for your program.
It does not take that long. No. I can do this in 20 minutes.
Okay.
I do heavy weights. And because you're going to like this, Dr. Cindy, because you're lifting so heavy, you're not lifting 3-4 days a week. You're lifting 2 days a week, because as we age, it takes us a little bit longer for the recovery. And remember, we're building muscle during the recovery, right? Not while we're breaking down the muscle fibers. So I lift really heavy on Monday.
Okay.
I lift really heavy on Friday. I do my cardio workouts, which I do specific cardio workouts as well. And then I throw in a Pilates workout here and there, or a little bit of functional work, some air squats, blah, 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 but only go into the gym doing heavy weights twice a week for 20 to 30 minutes. Not hard to do at all.
Oh my gosh, I love the heavy weights. And it's funny, I have a gym in my basement, but I like to go to the gym more than work out because I always lift heavier when I'm in front of other people.
Yes. Well, do it for yourself, but not for the other people.
I do, but there's something about when somebody's watching you just picking up that weight that's got a few more pounds on it that you can do, right?
Yeah, makes you feel good.
It does. It's very motivating, actually. And I'm an ex-power lifter, so I'm a meathead anyway. I love the heavy weights.
Yeah.
For sure.
You've got that good muscle memory. You are safe to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get into the training? Was there like a life-changing or aha moment when you were younger that got you excited about this?
So I think I was always drawn to, I was never a sporty girl. I was never on a team. I went to an all girls Catholic high school, so I wasn't involved in sports at all. But I really was drawn to exercise. In fact, when I was like 15 years old, I asked my mom, can I join this Nautilus gym? And I went there for a while. But what really got me and started as a personal trainer is I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's after my second son was born. So I was 26 years old. And I had been going to, fitness classes and exercise classes, and I had no energy. And I just had aches and pains all over my body. And exercise is an area that really gave me some control. It made me feel good about myself. It made me feel stronger and took away some of that lethargy, just kind of gave you that little endorphin rush. And I wanted to help other people feel that. And so I just went down that road and I became a personal trainer. And I learned when I became certified that I was fit to help healthy individuals. And once I learned that none of my clients were healthy, everybody had something wrong with them. We all do. I decided I got to go down a different path. I got to figure out how I'm going to help more people. And besides just being a trainer, not that there's anything wrong with being a trainer. And that's what led me to ultimately becoming a health coach.
Okay. Yeah. It's pretty fun, and like you said, we all do. And it's interesting. It makes me sad to think so many of us are fighting some sort of health battle, right? And much more severe, but our environment is one of ill health. And you're really right. I do think not everybody, but a good majority of us really are struggling with something that could be better. How many people do you run into that kind of use excuses, right? Of like, well, I'm over 50, so it's okay that I have aches and pains, and it's okay that I'm tired, and it's okay that I can't sleep. Almost where, I have this mantra that it's common, not normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
it becomes so common that we accept it. And I never like anybody to use age as an excuse in my office, because again, I think we can live to be 90 or 100 and feel amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But do you run into that a lot where people just use that as I'm older, so it's okay?
Yeah, I think that not just older, but there's people that have different issues and they're maybe either afraid, they don't have the motivation. And I don't even want to say this, but some people do live in like a victim mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where becoming a health coach really changed me too, because I knew that people could come in and see me and I could get them through a workout, even the people that hated exercise, right? And they'd come in and they were going to come in on a Monday and we'd work out and they'd feel great when they left. And then I'd give them a little bit of homework, but I wouldn't talk to them. And they'd come in the next Monday. We're starting the exact same spot because they just didn't have the confidence in themselves, the motivation, like you said, like this feeling of I'm old. I don't know if I'm going to do it the right way. I don't want to hurt myself. I've got all these aches and pains. I'm nauseous. I got a headache. I don't know, all kinds of stuff. And I thought there's got to be a better way to help people. And I think that's through mindset. And I really think that helping people feel powerful and just celebrating little wins, like if you feel like I can't go to the gym, I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm not enough of this, I'm not enough of that, I don't have the self-confidence to walk into a gym, go for a walk around the block. Put on some music and dance in your living room, like do something to move your body. And as you start to feel more accomplished in that, you gain some self-confidence and you might strike out and say, maybe I'll try a gym at my try a class at my rec center, or go to the YMCA or go to my church and join a class, something to get moving. But yeah, there's definitely people that have that I'm too this, I'm too that. And that's what we're trying to change, right? Is to get people to take control.
Always. Do you have any magic tricks? Because I think it's really hard, right? So you talk about people who have a victim mentality. Any magic tricks up your sleeve to help people, to help pull them out of that?
I think asking a lot of questions. I'm very bossy. I can be really bossy. I've been told by many people. And so I think that when I started asking more questions and keeping my mouth shut, I helped people more because I think we all have the answers inside of us. I think we all know what's holding us back. And if somebody just kind of points their finger at you or they tell you a list of things to do, if you don't, if that doesn't resonate with you, you're not going to do it. But if I ask you, hey, Dr. Cindy, what really lights you up? What makes you feel good? What makes you happy? And you give me 3 or 4 things, and I say, well, why don't you just try one of those? You're going to be more likely to do that than if I tell you what to do.
Right. Yeah. It's fun to tell people what to do, but you're right. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very hard. Let's go back to your personal health journey, because you mentioned something that unfortunately, I think there are hundreds of thousands of women and men, quite frankly, that are struggling with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And I think it's a very even underdiagnosed diagnosis. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you experienced that, were you given that diagnosis right away? Did they run the proper tests, or were you kind of strung along for years and years until somebody actually really did figure it out?
So my story is a pretty quick and clear cut story. I was, my oldest was like 4, and my youngest, I have 2 boys, and my little guy, who's now going to be 32 in March. Don't ask me how that happened, but, he was like 6 months old, and I was exhausted. And this is my story. I would put my Ryan in his crib to go to bed. I would take Jerry, who's now 35 and a dad, and I'd put him behind me on the couch, and I'd turn on The Lion King or any other Disney movie, and I would lay down on the couch, and I'd feel like he's behind me. So if he gets up, I'm going to know he's up, and then I'll get up. But this way I can kind of crash on the couch while he watches The Lion King. And then Ryan would wake up from his nap, and I'd have to go make another pot of coffee. And I went to my gynecologist for a checkup, and she said, why is your skin so dry on your shins? And I said, I don't know. And she said, is your hair falling out? And I said, oh yeah, my hair falls out in clumps. And she said, are you tired? And I said, oh, I'm exhausted, but I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old. And she felt my glands, marked by my thyroid. And she goes, yeah, you got to go get some blood tests done. So it was my gynecologist. Like, I think I don't know if I have a high tolerance of pain, but I think I just thought that's the way a new mom felt. I was stressed out. I had 2 little kids. I didn't realize that I was so sick. But I had, with my firstborn, I had toxemia, and with my second one, I had preeclampsia. Looking back now, they say the pregnancies triggered the Hashimoto's. I wonder if I had it, and that's what made me more, toxic with the pregnancies.
Yeah. So here's a great public service announcement for all of you out there who have children. It's okay to have a hard and stressful day that wears you out. But if you are stressed out and exhausted every single day, no, it is not normal, no matter how many kids you have, to feel that way. And I think we fall into that, right, Maria? Like, it's like, oh, well, again, we have a good excuse and we're not going to go complain about it.
Yeah.
No, it is not. It is not normal to do that. And what is it about The Lion King? I did that when I'm telling you, it must be our age, because
it's our age.
When I was pregnant with my second, and my daughter came to me, I actually had HELLP syndrome. I was very, very sick with my first, and I didn't do so great with my second either. So I spent a lot of time just laying around, trying to get through the day. And that's what we watched was Lion King. I wonder if there's some research behind the therapeutic effects of that particular Disney movie and our health.
It gave us power.
Is that what it was? Right? We could stand on the mountaintop.
Simba and Mufasa, right?
Maybe. God, I hate to give Disney credit for my health, but because you know what? I'm not going to give Disney credit. That's okay.
No,
they can have credit for other things.
You get to take credit for it.
Yeah, not for that. So how do you manage the Hashis at this point? What are some good things that you've incorporated into your lifestyle besides the weight training that have helped you navigate this diagnosis?
So aside from working with a traditional medicine doctor, I've been working with a functional medicine doctor, and I love you functional medicine doctors. I wish that you were all covered under insurance, because it's an incredible journey to figure out the root causes of things. But I actually am dealing with some higher levels of antibodies and TSH and all that. So I have gone gluten-free. I really strive to avoid dairy. It's hard for me, but I try to limit it as much as possible. I don't drink any alcohol. I try to avoid corn. I don't eat soy. So, some people hear that and they're like, oh my gosh, what do you do for fun? But I actually have a lot of fun. I try to stay hydrated, but I would say this too, just giving yourself care and rest, trying to prioritize sleep and, the health, doing the exercise, finding things that you can incorporate that are self-care, learning how to reduce stress. We all have stress. And my mom would always say, honey, there's good stress and there's bad stress, but your body can't tell the difference. And I so agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
So learning how to manage stress and just taking care of yourself. And that doesn't mean not doing hard things. It just means giving your body time to rest. And that's how I live with it. And it's really, I used to always joke and say, if I had to have something, it's not a bad thing to have. But that being said, it can lead to other problems. And once you've got one autoimmune disorder, you can have another autoimmune disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really propels me to take really good care of my body. And I cheat, I eat dark chocolate. I will once in a while, eat something I shouldn't eat. But for the main part, I really like the way I feel when I show myself the care that it needs.
Yeah, I love it. And thank you for promoting the medicine. I'll tell you, and I know a lot of people, this is a sore spot, right? Is that it's not covered under insurance. And forgive me for this, but I'm going to tell you, I'm glad.
I agree.
I don't mean that rudely for everybody out there, but I'll tell you, I used to accept insurance over 15 years ago, and they were literally putting me out of business. And that's, that's the struggle with it. And we want to make sure that our patients are getting really good care. And when we're dictated to by an insurance company at a very low reimbursement rate, the care usually then follows, unfortunately. So, I love that people are still seeking out this form of medicine and they are willing to pay out of pocket for it. But you just got to make sure you're with the right practitioner to get the right care too, right? So that there's value in the money that you're spending.
Yes.
So,
and I'm going to say this too. I guess even saying to be covered by insurance was wrong, because I have to tell you, real quick story. I am self-employed.
Okay.
I pay for my own insurance. I actually downgraded my insurance this year to a very minimum, and I just pay out of pocket for things, for whether it's functional medicine or traditional medicine, because insurance is so messed up. But that being said, I also want to say that investing in your health and wellness, you will never see me, no matter how wealthy I ever become, you will never see me with a Louis Vuitton bag. You'll never see me with any fancy jewelry. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but to me, I'd rather have an infrared sauna in my house, and I'd rather get a massage weekly and be able to see the doctors I want to see. Because that, to me, if your body feels good and if you're healthy, you almost don't need anything else.
Girl, don't give up the Louis Vuitton bag. Have both. Just have both. I don't want you to give up the health, but have both. All right. There's nothing wrong with that, because you need the Louis Vuitton bag to carry the cash to pay for your health care.
Okay.
So don't give up on that. And it doesn't have to be Louis Vuitton, right? Shameless plug for the Louis, but it's interesting because, and I think too, right, like with what you do, I mean, there's no insurance coverage to cover personal training, right, or health coaching, but it is about finding that right value. And if the person who's looking for the right practitioner, right, whether it's you, me, or anybody else, if they're getting value for the dollar amount that they're spending, it's the reason some people still go to Starbucks and buy a tea there versus making it at home, right?
Right.
And I'll tell you, like, as much as you say no Louis Vuitton, I say no to Starbucks, because I'm not spending $8 on a tall cup of tea. Yeah. I don't even know what the tall one is called. Like, can we just call it large and medium?
I think that goes back to the Lion King, because I'm with you on that.
Right. Like venti, I get all confused.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I've been to a couple countries and I'm still obviously not cultured enough to know venti and Trenta and all that stuff. But, again, it is that value, right? And I'm not knocking anybody that walks through Starbucks, although health-wise, I'm not so sure. But, from the aspect of value, right? I don't want to spend my money there when I know I can make my own cup of tea at home that costs me pennies on the dollar. So,
I hear you.
I think when we're really good at what we do and we can provide a service and there's an outcome, people will write the check, right?
Yes, I agree.
They will write the check. So you've got another little adventure, which I have to tell you, I'm just a smidge envious of. because it's on my journey list too. But
I read that in your book and I was like, oh my gosh.
You know what I'm going to say?
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. So a children's book.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How cool is that?
Thank you. I am so excited. I wrote this book. I started this book way, way back. I mean, it was prior to 2015. I wrote the first story in this book. And I had a dog. I had a little Yorkie. Her name was Bella. She's no longer with us. And she is, I used to call her Bella the fitness dog because I would get down on the floor and I would be melting. And if I would go face down to melt the front of my legs, she would jump off the couch and do a down dog and do an up dog and want to play with me. And I'd be like, oh, Bella, you just want to melt. You just want to stretch. You just want to be healthy, So I wrote this story. And I think that because I work with so many people, especially now, 40s, 50s, 60s to 90s, that I see a lot of things that catch up with us because of things we didn't do or did do when we were younger. And in today's day and age, with screens being so prevalent, with fast food, prepared food being so prevalent, with moms and dads both having to work to support the family and kids being in daycare and after school programs or, being behind a TV while mom's at work, I feel it's so important to bring back I'm going to say old time values, like back from the 1970s, right? When we played outside at the park. My mom didn't know where I was. I didn't have a cell phone, right? And Bella, through being a dog, she helps her friends kind of get a little bit healthier.
I love it.
And I don't make her into a human too much. She's pretty much a dog. But these little children, she has these different friends and they each have their own story. And the little girl, Marcy, she loves crafts and she's at school, she's in the after school program, but she wants to win a race because the prize for winning a race is a basket of craft supplies. Well, Bella overhears her telling her mom this. And so Bella helps Marcy get faster so that Marcy can win the race. So that's kind of how the book goes. So it's a fun book. I wrote it before I was a grandmother and now I'm so glad I wrote it. And I truly do a lot of things that Bella does to play with my granddaughter because I want her growing up loving movement. I want her to love to be outside, love the sunshine, love the blue sky, and just move her body.
That's so cute. So, we just put down our dog, Walter, this last November. He was 155-pound English Mastiff Great Dane mix.
Oh.
And his version of downward dog was just to lay there and not move. So he had his own form of yoga. There's no doubt about it. And we'd go down into the basement and lay in the gym and he'd lay. Although I will tell you when the boys, because we have a wrestling mat down there too, because both my boys are wrestlers. When the boys are down there punching the punching bag or wrestling, Walter was right in the mix. So, a little mixed martial arts, the dog was in. A little weight training, the dog was out.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. I have to circle back real quick. Because you mentioned the MELT method, and I'm not so sure, quite frankly, our listeners or even myself has a really good, clear understanding. Let's take that if you don't mind. What exactly is the MELT method? And can you give us a little teaser that maybe we can start to do on our own?
Absolutely. So the MELT method is a self-care technique that was developed by Sue Hitzman. She's my teacher. She's a manual therapist. And she actually came up with this method because her patients would say, Sue, you have to give me homework so that I can make myself feel as good at home as you make me feel in your office. And so after years and years of trying all different tools, she ended up actually having to manufacture her own tools. So we use these specific soft foam rollers and these soft little therapy balls. There's also some firm therapy balls. And MELT deals with your connective tissue in your nervous system. So we call it like neurofascial therapy. And it's amazing what it can do for a person. Basically, if the quickest way I can tell your listeners is if you've been sitting at the computer for a long time and you get up and your hip hurts or your low back hurts and you're like, oh my gosh, that really hurts. That's what we call in MELT pre-pain signals. Your body is telling you something's up, but we walk around and that pain goes away. So we forget about it. But if we let that accumulate in our body, then a few weeks or months later, we go to bend down and pick up a piece of paper and we throw our back out, right? And then we take an ibuprofen, but that doesn't address the problem. It just masks the symptom. So what Melt does is it helps to compress the connective tissue. We rebalance the nervous system. We have a sequence called the rebalance sequence, and I teach it to all of my clients. It is an amazing warm up. And what I do with the Melt method as far as neural strength is that's the stability component I was talking about to create neurological stability in our body. And it sounds like a lot of sciencey terms, but basically it's self-care that you learn to do for yourself. And I can give you in the show notes if you want to include some places where people can go to learn and to get in touch with me if they want to learn how to melt for themselves.
We would absolutely love that. And I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and do some rapid fire questions that may or may not have anything to do with anything. And then we will share with all of our listeners how they can get some of this information. So everybody hang tight. We will be right back. This is your weekly dose of Dr. Cindy, the Positively Altered podcast. Stop. Hit that follow button now and spread the love with Positively Altered. Welcome back to the Positively Altered podcast with my guest, Maria Rigo. Maria, we're going to do some rapid fire questions. You ready?
Okay, sure.
All right, let's see how they go. If you were the ruler of the universe, who would you trust to drive your chariot?
Oh my gosh. That's a hard one. You know what? I got to say my partner, Jack.
Yeah?
Yeah. He was a pilot. He is a chemist, and I really value his advice and his opinion on a lot of stuff.
That's awesome. Now, here's a really important question, though. So as a pilot, is he also a good driver, though?
Oh, he's an amazing driver.
See, that's really interesting because like my daughter's a pilot. She's a horrible driver. And I've learned, no, true story. I've learned that a lot of pilots are actually not good drivers, which is why they belong in the sky. So he's obviously extremely gifted. So I might, if I ever was the ruler of the universe, I might borrow him. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Okay. Excellent. Or we'll share the chariot or whatever we got to do.
We'll give you a ride.
Okay. Perfect. Well, here we go again. So in my senior living facility,
there you go.
You can just pick me up with the chariot. Now I just need the private chef. So if anybody out there would like to come live with me, I've got the ride down. So I'm halfway there. See, all you got to do is put it in the universe, Maria, and things come true.
Yes.
That's good. All right. If you could domesticate any animal on the planet, what would you pick to live in your house?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to say a penguin.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, I just think penguins are absolutely adorable. I mean, they'd have to be domesticated and not smell. But they're adorable, and I have kind of a little connection with a penguin is a sign from the other side. So
okay,
it means a lot to me.
I love that. Awesome. For me, that's a flamingo.
Cool.
Yeah. So
and they kind of smell too. So
yeah. Well, I think most animals smell, don't they? If
that's true. That's true.
Sometimes even the domesticated ones aren't so lovely.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I know. They just don't seem to care, but maybe they're onto something that we don't know. But that's okay. All right. What food would you make a breakfast food that is not considered a breakfast food?
Oh, I would say this is going to be the health coach in me. I'd say salmon, wild caught.
See, I'm with you. I love cold salmon in the morning.
Cold or hot, I don't care, but cold on a salad, yummy. And so good for you.
But it is a great breakfast food.
Yeah, and good brain food. So like, why give the kids a bowl of Cheerios when you could give them salmon?
Right?
They would do so much better in school.
Right. Do you know that there is not one box of cereal in my house?
My house either.
Yeah.
Don't believe in it.
You know what? I actually used to make something called fruit cereal in my house. We would chop up either almonds or cashews, sliced bananas, sliced blueberries and strawberries, a little bit of cinnamon, your plant milk base, of choice, because we didn't do cow's milk. And we'd mix that around. And if you needed to eat something out of a bowl with a spoon, that was our cereal. It was fruit cereal.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah. And we can't keep it in a box because it would be pretty nasty and gross.
Yeah. Well, I think the things you can't keep in a box are better anyway.
I agree. All right. If you could change snow from the color of white to any color on the planet, what would you pick?
I love white snow, but I'm going to say like super light, like the color of like an iceberg. Have you ever been like up close to an iceberg, like that blue? That would be the color I'd pick.
Okay. And your favorite body part and why?
My legs.
Yeah. Okay.
Not because I have good looking legs, but the favorite body part for anybody because they carry us through.
Oh, that's a good answer. I like that.
Yeah.
I love that. And Maria, last but certainly not least, what was your favorite thing about doing the podcast today?
Oh my gosh, meeting you and getting to talk with you.
Oh, so sweet. I love it.
I love your book. I love listening to you. You're awesome.
Well, thank you. The feeling is mutual. So Maria, share with everybody before we get going, how can they find you, follow you, reach you, buy the children's book? Give everybody all the deets, please.
Okay, so you can find me at boundlessbalance.com. That's my website. But you can follow me on Instagram at boundless_balance or on Facebook at Boundless Balance. And Bella the Fitness Pup is coming out in August. And she has her own Instagram page, Bella the Fitness Pup, and her website is coming soon. So make sure you go over there and follow her too.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. I want an autographed copy, okay?
All right, you've got one. I'll come down and see you and bring it to you.
If anybody out there is interested in some of Maria's health programs, which I highly recommend, we've got a gift for you. Maria, what are we offering, everybody?
So any of your listeners who would like to coach with me, I would like to offer them 10% off. And all they have to do is use the code Dr. Cindy at checkout. And they can always just message me too to set up a time for a free consult to make sure we're a good fit to work together.
Awesome. And if you missed that, we'll make sure to put it in the show notes so that you can check out Maria's health programs and 10% off using the code Dr. Cindy. Well, I really appreciate all the time you gave today. If anybody else is interested in finding out more about what's going on in my world, please check me out at drcindyspeaks.com or shoot me an email at hello@drcindyspeaks. I will tell you my favorite thing about doing the podcast today is not only meeting you, of course, Maria, in person this time, but really getting everybody excited about the fact that as we get older, nothing has to stop or be victim mentality, right? There are things we can do. And, as you've said, sometimes when we fall off the bike, all we got to do is get back on and shift and do things a little bit differently in order to be successful. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. Everybody check out Maria, follow her. She's got some great information that'll help you. And by the way, you don't have to be 50 to benefit. I hope everything that you heard today will leave you positively altered.